significance of marriage, it is not just, as I said earlier, coming together a man and a woman. In the Quran, the word nikah refers to aqd. It's this contract. And in Quran also, marriage has been specifically referred to as ميثاقا غليظا وأخذنا منكم ميثاقا غليظا. That is, and they have taken from you, in reference to woman, O man, they have taken from you a strong covenant. And so if it is ميثاقا غليظا, if it is this strong covenant in the sight of Allah, it should not be taken lightly in terms of disrespect, and it should not be taken lightly in terms of breakage. Before getting there, one has to do due diligence and do his best to preserve the marriage, because it is a contract that is ghalid, that is very strong. Also, as I said at the onset, marriage in Islam is regulated in great details. The consent of both spouses is an explicit condition for a valid marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to this in this ayah. When you divorce women and they fulfill their term, that means these women who were married previously to other husbands, when they are divorced, they have to wait for the period to clear any pregnancy that is underway, so that there is no mixing who belongs to whom. Islam keeps that separation very clear. However, when they are free of that duty of the term, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not prevent them from marrying their former husband if they wish to, or they can remarry anyone. But the key in this context here, if they mutually agree on equitable terms. So the woman and the man, the prospective husband and wife, have to mutually agree to getting married. And so nobody can force his daughter, his sister, anyone or his someone who is under his authority to marry to anyone for the sake of anything. What we see around in some communities and in some places around the world of females being forced to marry because of family connections or because of other reasons that bring things to the family as they see it. If the sister refuses, that marriage is null and void. She cannot get married or forced to get married to someone she doesn't like to. This is a rule of Islam. And so one has to obtain her consent before engaging her into marriage. Also, marriage is a social contract. It's a noble and sacred contract which leads to a number of relationships with mutual rights and obligations. As we will see in the structure of the family, it is not just between the man and the woman, these relationships, but it is the right of the woman to take care of her mother and father, to maintain relationships with her family. Likewise, on the other side, the woman cannot impose on her husband or work in any shape or form to sever the relationships of her husband with his mother, his father, or his extended family. This mutual respect has to exist on both sides. Both have to work to put in place this beautiful family that Allah Azza wa Jalla is talking about. It's an extended family. And so it's not just the unit, me and you, and that's it. That's not Islam. Also, one thing that we need to understand in Islam, a marriage contract is, as we said, mithaqan ghalidh. It's a strong covenant. However, it is not a sacrament in the understanding of other religions. It is not irrevocable. There are conditions under which that contract can be revoked, nullified, and allow the two parties to depart on their own ways. And that is called divorce. So divorce is permitted in cases where marriage has failed, although the family, the community has to do its utmost to help them keep that marriage. But if it becomes impossible, then it is permissible to divorce. The man to seek divorce and the woman to seek separation. That is permissible. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أبغض الحلال عند الله الطلاق. The most hated halal by the sight of Allah is divorce. That's how difficult it is, this issue of divorcing and breaking a family, because of the consequences of it. And so, although it is permissible when marriage becomes impossible, it is also the most hated halal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a social unit, the institution of the family plays an important role in Muslim society. In fact, it is the first starting nucleus of the Muslim society. If a family is on a correct path, then the society is in a correct path. The first corruption starts within the family and it spreads outward toward the society at large. It is the basic unit and it is organized in such a way that it operates as a society really in a miniature form. Some facts here about 1/3 of ahkam. These are ayatul ahkam, the verses of the Quran that deal with legal injunctions. About 1/3 of them relate to family and regulating family. This is how important it is. So 1/3, subhanallah, 1/3 of the legal injunctions of Quran are about family. Also, it establishes a network of rights. These are the Quranic injunctions, and Islam establishes a network of rights and obligations, defines roles, relationships between men and women, between young and old, between near relatives and distant kith and kin. So this brings us back to the fact that it is not the mother and the father and their children. It is much, much beyond that. And each one has rights and responsibilities. And to look at this is the laws of inheritance. Subhanallah, they are very, very complicated. And if somebody has rights on you when you die to share in what you leave behind you, he most probably has rights on you when you are alive. That's how Islam looks at it. Also, the Muslim family is an extended family. That means with different relationships and positions. It is not a family consisting of the parents and children only. It normally has 3 or 4 generations under its umbrella. And each one of those have rights and duties. And so when a grandmother is living with the family, she has to be respected by all. Her rights are on all the other members of the family, each one with his own duties toward her. The duties of the daughter toward her mother are different. Then comes the duties of the husband toward the mother of his wife, for example, and vice versa. Then comes the duties of the children toward their grandmother, and so on. So this is where, when we talk about the respect for parents, the veneration of parents, all of that comes from this.